Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Erasmus Expeditions. We are here tonight with an ongoing 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons campaign that we have been running, titled Evermore le Masquerade. This takes place in a homebrew world of mine known as Rostveen, in particular in the kingdom of Gerdes, which is heavily based on the Baroque periods of Spain, France, Venice, and a little bit of the Orlais setting, kind of from Dragon Age sprinkled over the top. Before we get started, I'm going to pass things over to my players here in just a moment so that they can introduce themselves, tell you where you may be able to find them on the internet, plug anything that they have going on, etc., etc. And then I think we can get started. But before we do that, I want to give the same warning that I give on the beginning of all of my games, and that is if foul language, immature subject matter, or really immature humor are problems for you, then you should not spend any time here. All of these people are adults, or I have permission slips signed by their parents, so we should be okay on that front. Particularly this game, while we will not feature any explicit sex, sexuality and innuendo is a very big part of the culture of Gerdes, so there will be a lot of that featured in the game. So again, if you get squeamish about that kind of stuff, then this is not the game to watch. What else? Oh, this is going to be session number 36 of this campaign, and it will be titled, or is titled, The Château d'Ivoire. We'll get into that, I am certain, here in a little while. So let me go ahead and kick things over to my players so that they can say hello, and then we'll get started. We're going to start with Karen.
Hello, everyone. I am Karen, otherwise known as Myth and Gears. Where can you find me? Well, here. So, yay, you found me. Also, mini train domain on Mondays, except for July. I'm not going to be there all of July because nobody is. But come afterwards in August, and we'll all be back. It'll be great. Yeah, can't wait to get back into this. Consequences of our actions are rearing their ugly heads, and I am afraid of everything. And with that, I will tell you that I am playing Diego Ruiz Gonzala after only having a very brief stint of not having to play this persona. But yay, we're back, and I will be all of the above. And I will now pass it on to Austin.
I am Austin. I'm super excited to get back into this. I am unfindable on the internet anywhere useful. I don't have a whole lot to add today other than I am psyched to get back into this. I'll be playing Guillaume de Lestout, the wizard and perfume maker. That's what he thinks of himself as. And an actor. Not a very good one. But, playwright, man about town, playboy as well, I would say, and horny little freak. And with that, I will pass it off to Em.
Hi, I'm Em. I will be playing Sylvie Levine, and always excited to get back into it. I was just remembering what happened last session, and it's going to be very interesting. I am very excited to be back in the town, in the city, and I can't wait to see what happens next. And I'll pass it to Matt.
Hello, I'm Matt, and tonight I'll be playing Loxley LaCroix, a swordsman and roustabout whose past is maybe a little more complicated than he's let on. So, as for where you can find me, like Austin, I'm becoming increasingly elusive on the internet. They kicked me out of my Facebook, can't get back in my Facebook. So I'm on Blue Sky, I guess. I post on there every 2 weeks when I remember that I have the app on my phone. But other than that, this is where you can find me these days. So I'm really excited to play tonight. We got the full crew. So it's going to be great. Consequences of our actions. Let's go. I'll pass it on over to Kenya.
Oh boy. So hey internet, I'm Kenya and also known as Acerson, and um this is really the only place that I'm actively even semi-active on the actively I don't know. Anyways, this is where you can find me. I too am becoming much more difficult to find on the interwebs. I feel like we're all just in need of some hermiting lately, but I'm here tonight live from my office with my cats and ready to play some D&D. And I am terrified to play tonight because I missed last session. And today I listened to last session in preparation. And oh my God, I missed last session. It was crazy. I'm so scared. Combining what I listened to today with the title of this episode, I'm very scared. And I'm going to go find something to keep me not so scared. Well, Jeremy, it goes back to you.
All right. Yeah, it was a big session last time. A big session. There was a lot that happened. Probably going to be dealing with the fallout from a lot of that for probably the remainder of this game, I imagine. But I'm happy. We turned a corner in the story. We've definitely kind of entered the last act, I think. We're starting to get into the meat and potatoes of all of the characters' kind of backstories and the things that brought them to a life of adventure. So I'm eager to do some more of that. So I think without further ado, I think we can go ahead and start. All right, let's do it. When those we are surrounded by do not expect much from us, we will adopt that same view of ourselves, one of not having higher expectations. In our stagnation, we begin to see challenges as an inconvenience, something that disrupts our daily life. But challenge is what pushes us to grow, to change, to become more than we were yesterday. When we rise to face the difficulties laid before us, it gives us the rare opportunity to challenge the expectations placed upon us by both the world and ourselves. We find ourselves once again in the city of Aledalgo, its network of canals and bridges making the multitude of separate little islands one. A city, a thriving city. At least it was whenever you left. Ever since that you have returned, you have noticed things are different. Not just in the major ways that impact you on a deeply personal level you've already started to have to try to deal with. But there's something else. Again, there's not as many people in the street. There's not as many canals that are operating, or gondolas that are operating. People aren't singing and serenading as often, especially during the daylight hours. And everywhere that you have been, you have noticed that there have been signs that are pointing towards maybe a shortage, maybe a purposeful holding back of, you're not really sure yet, of Borjido Olivida. So, I believe we met with somebody that Sylvie seems to be possibly connected with, but doesn't really seem to know, strangely enough, but does seem to be familiar with her family. And I think we left off right after the meeting with who you were told is the Vicarian spy master, Jorik. There was a last name too, and I said it just now. You heard me. Yes, you just met with that individual, and were kind of left to your own devices. So where is it that we find the five of you, and what are you doing? Where are you headed next?
Well, we have that safe house right now that we've been given access to.
Yep. Yeah, they gave you a small kind of apartment, and it's kind of one of those things where it's, above street level, so it's just like the second story of a building that's got like a business in the bottom floor. You access it by like an external staircase, and it's going to be tight quarters for 5 people.
Okay, I'll sleep as a rat.
So Vera's been very quiet this entire time. Matter of fact, when we were at the bar, the lovers bar, everyone was kind of mostly quiet except for Sylvie, who was doing a lot of the talking. But Vera had actually separated herself kind of from the group, in like a seat or two, and when they brought the beer out, she was just drinking. Like she didn't seem to indicate one way or the other if she liked the flavor, didn't like it, if it had any effect on her. And then when everybody got up to leave, she just kind of followed the group along very quietly. But once we get to the place and Guillaume kind of mentions that he'll sleep as a rat, and she, don't be stupid. You're not going to sleep as a rat. It's not that small, and there's enough space where if some of us double up, we'll be fine. And she kind of like just, you can share the bed with me. That's fine.
Well, if you insist.
Need to I need to get a I need to get a hold of Ella. I need to get a hold of someone from my staff. I can't. What is that woman doing alive? She's not alive. It has got to be someone else. I killed her. I sank her corpse to the bottom of this lake myself. So who the fuck is at my Castillo?
We'll
Could
find out. We'll help you kill her again.
it be someone with gifts like yours, Vera? The ability to change the way they look, assume the face of another person?
I mean, most likely it's probably magic of some sort, probably a simple rudimentary disguise self spell. She kind of just plops down on the edge of the bed and she's just rubbing her temples, and my kind don't live in your world. They're not supposed to be here.
But you do.
I got left when I was a child. But with the Padre, I mean, and she pulls that necklace out that they found in the bottom that she has mentioned before. She recognized as at one point somehow being there but belonging to her mother, and she Wouldn't it just be absolutely we don't stay here often, and usually we are hired to do jobs. That's what I remember hearing my parents talking about. They had been hired to do a job here. Child was needed. I came with. We got caught. I got lost. I really just hope it's a vampire with disguised self, because if it's the other thing that I don't even want to consider, I don't. This place. And at that, she kind of just flops backwards onto the bed and puts her arm over her eyes and just kind of lays there staring up at the ceiling.
Are we just gonna gloss over one thing that you've said here? Um, you murdered her and you threw her in the lake.
I was planning on just glossing over that, yes.
Hmm. So me bringing it up again is probably not what you wanted.
It's a little awkward, yeah.
I just assumed Vera had reasons.
But I like you, Lox. You don't ask a lot of questions.
Wait,
I
real quick. Chimeran, Sylvie, did either of you ever murder anyone before any of this whole thing started? Because if I'm the only one here who never murdered anyone, I'm gonna be really pissed.
I hadn't.
Okay. Your lack of
Sylvie just
answer
shrugs.
speaks volumes.
Sylvie just shrugs.
We just met the people you were involved with. I think I have my answer. Right, 2 out of 5.
Without kind of looking up at the group. She was not a kind woman, the madam of the Castillo. She was not kind at all. And oftentimes she would go to orphanages and she would find young children, girls, boys, what it didn't matter to her, and bring them in, and we were her rats. Similar to your rats, Locks, your little boys that ran around the city. We ran around inside the walls of the Castillo, listening, spying, telling on the girls, the and the guys, and when we weren't doing that, we were cleaning. When we weren't doing that, we were hiding in the piles of blankets that they called a bed, hoping that she would feed us today and not forget about us. And when I got to the right age, she gave me a promotion, so to speak. It's what I had grown up in at that point and knew it. I knew how to do it. I knew what needed to be done. And because of what I am, I was better at it than anybody else. And I soon quickly became her favorite, which wasn't really saying a lot. And she and I got into a disagreement one day, and I disagreed with the way she was treating with everyone. I disagreed with the fact that she was rolling in money and no one had anything except the bare minimum necessary. Well, unless you were one of the staff who saw clients. Then you at least got to spend your working time in a nice room. And we got into an argument. I wanted things changed. She didn't. She mentioned that she was going to be taking a small tour and leaving me in charge, and that I was not to change how anything was done, etc., blah, blah, blah. One thing led to another. For the 100th time in my life, we were screaming at each other. And I took the gilded dagger that one of my clients had given me, and he had had his blacksmith in his employ. Um, I took the dagger and I killed her because she deserved it.
Oh, I'm not judging. I mean, we just literally killed my asshole husband. So, I mean,
Oh, I didn't think
just
you were
curious.
judging me. I just figured as long as we're all here, I mean, you guys helped me move the container that I hid her body in until I sank it to the ocean. Or into the lake. But yeah, I killed her. So she is either undead, risen from the dead. She is a vampire who has somehow managed to come across a disguise self spell and knows the woman well enough, what she looked like to fool people.
It sounds like she was the proprietress for many decades.
She was.
So someone as old as the Padre and his cronies would probably
They
known
knew
her.
her.
Yeah.
They probably had her under. Would explain why the occasional staff member went missing to never be found again suddenly one night.
Hmm.
That's why the twins, why they're so precious to me. They were younger than me. They are by quite a few years, and it was her treatment of them that really kind of set me off that night, on top of everything else. But anyways, she's dead. Well, she was up until about an hour ago. With all the shit we've been through, I had at least that to keep me happy. If it is her, I'll kill her again. And if it's someone else, I'll kill them too. If it, by some odd, cosmically divine joke, is one of my parents, well, who knows? Is there room service here? Sylvie, do your people have room service?
And she looks. I doubt that any more than maybe one or two people even know that we're here. I doubt any of them have are trained, well, would be willing. She looks. So we have a few different avenues then. It does sound like we might need to maybe stop by the Castillo. At
I'm going
least
to
to
try.
see. She pauses and looks to Guillaume, and then maybe on the way to get your father.
Yes, I think we should stop at the Castillo and make sure Vera's people are at least safe for the moment.
But hey, at least you can go check on your father. I mean, you can turn into a rat and scurry into the prison to go see him.
We'll see what it's like once we get there. That'll probably be the first step.
For what it's worth, Lux, I'm sorry that your home's been destroyed.
Hasn't been my home in a long time.
Well, say, imagine it's one thing to walk away from a home, but it's entirely another to have nothing to go back to not have the option.
To be honest, I had never considered the possibility of going back.
Well, Sylvie, I'm sorry about your shop too.
You can see, like, Sylvie just nods, like, resolutely. It is just a place. There will be many more. Many more shops. Many more dresses. Maybe it is time I take my sewing kit on the road. She smiles.
Oh. Looks like you've got a new set of fabric for a new life. Stolen from the dead husband of our friend. But that's, I mean, besides the point. I mean.
Just details. A pretty fabric is a pretty fabric.
Exactly.
Okay. So it sounds like the plan is to head to try to break Guillaume's father out of prison via the Castillo. Yeah? Okay.
I think before we go though,
Mhm.
Vera does want to send Ella a message. And she also wants to send the twins a message to find out what it's like in the chateau or in the Castillo. I always call it the chateau. I don't know why, I'm not French.
Yeah, it's very easy to find,
Mhm.
messengers in the city.
No.
So...
I mean through the spell, a sending spell message.
Oh,
Sorry.
sending. Perfect. Okay,
Yeah,
even
via
better.
sending. Yeah,
Okay,
she's gonna call the twins first.
Okay, and that gives them the chance to respond, correct?
Yes, 25 words. It's not much, but
Okay.
it's something.
Okay. So what exactly are you sending to the twins?
She's gonna send Gabriella, just because Vera knows if she sends Sebastian a message that probably 24 of the 25 words are just going to be him whining about how miserable the old lady is and stuff. So she's going to send Gabriella a message so that she can get a little bit more information in very succinct words, because Gabriella's not unfamiliar with this spell at all. Vera's used it on her plenty of times through the course of working together. She's going to send Gabriella a message. She's going to basically tell her, Gabriella, speak swiftly. I'm back. I know of the hag. What is going on? Who is it, really? Are you safe?
Okay. Important question to ask you.
Mhm.
Is Gabriella aware of the truth of what happened between you and the madam? Okay.
Yep. She knows, yeah.
Okay. She answers back. I do not know where we are. It is dark and quiet. We fell asleep in our beds. I was drugged. And Sebastian and I are together, but we are alone. Please help.
Man. Okay, doing something she doesn't really like to do, but she's going to do it because of what the heck is going on. She's going to spend another spell slot on sending her a second message real quick. And she's going to say back. Hold on, what does she want to say back to gather her thoughts? Do you hear or smell anything significant? The old woman. Who is she? I am coming for you. I will always protect you. That's her she'll end the message.
Okay. And she will reply with, I can hear gondoliers. We are in Aladalgo. I do not know who she is. She played at being kind, and when confronted, that's when I think we were drugged. Hurry, please.
As Vera's been talking to her, everyone in the room has basically seen her complexion kind of just drop, and there's this kind of weird thing happening to Vera's whole shape and her body. It's kind of, I don't want to say like jittering, but it's kind of like you're watching as her normally red and black hair that she has, kind of like you'll see like a white streak appear in it and then it goes back to normal, and then another one over here and it goes back to normal, and you're watching and it's very slight, but you're kind of seeing like her image is shifting, and it's almost like she's, whatever is being said back to her, she's so focused on it that her attention is dropping elsewhere and she's not maintaining it as much. And when she gets done with the second message, she kind of just shakes her head and, fuck, they're in trouble. They're they were drugged. She's somewhere dark. All she can do is hear gondoliers. Her and her brother. But
Not much to go on, Vera.
I know it's not much to go on. I'm not fucking stupid. I understand. I get it. She's gonna cast sending one more time, and this time she's gonna message Ella. My dear, are you safe? It's been so long since I've seen you. I've missed you. This one she's keeping very light because as much as she does care about Ella, she's also not going to be surprised if she's somehow been compromised.
Okay. There is a response that says, "You're back in town. Are you okay?" I am fine, but things in Aladalgo are changing. Just the Karos are changing. May not be safe much longer. Where are you?
There shakes her head. She asked me where I am. I don't know what to tell her.
That spell works from anywhere, right? Just say you're still out of town. We don't really want them knowing we're back yet. Not that I'm saying she'll relay every bit of information, but just in case. You know the old saying, a jab.
Jeremy, what was the name of the city that we killed the husband in? Which husband, you ask? Okay, yeah, that's important.
That's a growing list.
Isabel's husband. Manchalone, was that it?
Manchalona.
Manchalona, okay.
Oh, but don't say that one.
Manchalona, okay. I have one more slot left for sending. She's going to send a message back and she's going to say, "Do you know Manchalona? We've left there time traveled has not been very long. Can you go out into the sunlight?
Is that the total of what you're sending?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She responds with, "Yes, I know of Barcelona. Is that where you are?" "The sunlight. Yes, of course I can still go in the sunlight. I miss you terribly. Please, come home. I need to see you. For things... I may not be able to stay here."
She will relay her exact words to the rest of the group.
I know that you like her, Vera, but we are in such a precarious position. We don't know that. We don't know if Ella has been, well, maybe even not to her own volition. I'm not saying that she is bad. I am just saying that she probably has a close eyes on her.
No, I know. They're not stupid. They know we were involved. We weren't exactly secretive about it. We had no reason to be. That is why I mentioned Barcelona. Padre knows where we've been, so that's irrelevant. So I figured by mentioning that at least it doesn't put her in a position to have to lie. And it's far enough away that she can't run across the town looking for me. But I am fairly tapped for my ability to do anything strong for the day now. That was the end of it.
Let's get some rest then. The twins are alive. We'll find them.
Sylvie, can your friends get us clothing?
Yes.
We need something more befitting of a... She looks down at her own clothes. Well, something a little bit more common. And I think to throw things off, I will probably change what I look like also.
I think Sylvie has her little clockwork kind of the metal raven that she has, and is going to like send it off with a message, a note to the to her contacts requesting maybe some clothes. Could she? Would it be possible for them to get like some type of, I don't know if they would have like any kind of like identification or anything for them, but
So, like, there's not a ton of papers that like people normally would have, unless you were peerage of some kind. You know, like if you were part of the nobility, or you had like a title. In which case, you probably have some kind of certificate or a signet ring or both.
I mean, actually, it might take a while to do that. I think Sylvie would ask because we never know when we might need a title to get in somewhere.
Okay.
And I think that she would actually ask to get that process started, like some type of title, not in Aladalgo, but maybe somewhere outside of it, like
From afar.
yeah, get that paperwork going just in case.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Make me a persuasion roll with advantage.
Got it.
You know what?
Good.
Vera's gonna, because Vera's had papers drawn up for her before, so she's familiar with what the city needs. So she's gonna give you some tips and stuff to kind of include in your note. Take that bardic inspiration too to add to that.
Oh, nice.
I mean,
What is that? Is that a
I-
D8?
I am up to a D8, yes.
I'm also very good at forgery, so I could aid you potentially. Not so much in the asking of the questions, but I could help you.
I did get a 25.
Okay, there we go.
With yeah.
All right then. Yeah. You pen this request as if your life depended on it. You pull out all of your long words, and you feel fairly confident that if this is something that they can arrange, that they certainly will do so. As well as clothing for anybody who needs it. When it arrives, the clothes fit. They, as if they were a quick study of your sizes, and they're tailored to your specifications. So if you're looking for something that's a little more common, or you're looking for something that's a little more rugged, or what have you, they can certainly get it for you. To answer your question, Austin, yes, yeah. You could have been taking a short rest essentially while Vera has been doing what she's been doing. Then it sounds like you're taking a long rest basically right afterwards anyways.
Okay, then yeah, so like basically like right after we've kind of completed our short rest amount of time before we just lay down to sleep, Guillaume will just take a small knife and just cut a slice on a bit of his hand and start like holding the staff, and you see him kind of lose a bit of his color, get a little pale as he forces blood into the staff.
Yeah, there's definitely a feeling of kind of wooziness at some point. This kind of feeling almost like you want to faint as it kind of rushes from your body, maybe a little faster than you had anticipated or hoped. I don't know if anybody's ever given blood and kind of gone to stand up too fast afterwards. It's kind of like that, only more extreme. Okay. Is there anything else that anybody wants to handle or have a scene with for overnight while you're staying in this safe house? No? Okay.
Um, I I guess I'll just check in with Vera.
Mhm.
Vera, you're entirely out of your ability to send any more messages, correct?
I am.
Okay. Okay. No problem. Well, then it'll be just a happy little surprise for my father. Hopefully he'll his military training will kick in and he'll be alert.
Well, before you turn back into you, you could be a rat and do a little jig for him, and he'll probably know something's up. Dancing rats aren't common in prison, from what I understand.
Guess it depends how long you've been in prison. What you've had time to teach the companions. Or how strongly you're hallucinating.
She just kind of chuckles and kind of elbows him in the ribs as they're like laying in bed together. And she's like, shut up and go to sleep.
Oh, ow. Oh, the lack of blood. I really feel that. I'm not feeling great. Yeah, I'm gonna sleep. I'm gonna sleep.
Once he is asleep, uh, once the room is asleep and everybody's kind of down, Vera is going to see if she can snag the book from Guillaume's bag and put it in her own.
Okay. Roll me a stealth or a sleight of hand. Since you're waiting for everybody to be asleep, I will say again that this is at advantage. So
22.
okay. Guillaume, please note on your character sheet, if you will, the lack of one book. Vera, you managed to secure this book and put it inside of your own belongings. And again, when you pull it out in this this kind of small, tucked away space, I imagine it's fairly dark in this room. And when you pull it out, the book immediately begins to kind of like glow softly with this purple light, and you hear this kind of faint whispering that is a multitude of voices mixed together, impossible to tell what they're saying, even if you understood the language. In the entire time that you are handling the book, this is the case.
Mm-hmm. She just wraps it up and kind of tucks it away.
Okay.
Then crawls back into bed. And big spoons Guillaume, because I feel like he's a little spoon kind of guy.
Yeah, he doesn't wake up, but he definitely like.
Gives like maybe a little squeak. Okay. So you manage to rest through the night. You hear sounds in the street, kind of off and on through the evening. The one thing that you will realize is the city seems to be. Aladalgo has always been active at night. There's always been a healthy nightlife, but this seems particularly active. You're guessing that those who spent most of the days indoors are probably now out and about on the streets and canals of the city. It's not raucous or crazy necessarily. It's not quite Mardival levels of like reverie, but it's definitely more active than you would think. But there is no other disturbance to your night, and you're able to rest completely before the next day. By sunrise, things have calmed down a lot, and it's kind of back to that quiet, bordering on somber. Not again to the extremes of things that you saw in Manchelona. It's not to that degree, but you can see some of the same fingerprints of that, if you will. So as you get ready for the day and you prepare to disembark from the safe house, is the plan still to go to the Castillo first and then to try to find out where Guillaume's father is? Okay. Okay. Is there anything that you're doing before you arrive at the Castillo? Anything you want to say or do or prepare before you get there? Nope. All right.
Vera's definitely going to modify her appearance. Probably. Yeah, she's definitely going to modify her appearance, like much more of the kind of like style and look that would just kind of fade into a crowd, not that strikingly beautiful type of stuff that she usually keeps up. She's downplaying everything here. And yeah, so that she can get closer to it. And she might even does Guillaume use a disguise spell or the hat of disguise? Does he have a hat of disguise?
No, he uses a disguise spell, although
uses a
right now I
disguise
think
spell.
he's traveling in Ratnedo.
In Ratnedo, okay. Okay.
In Sylvia's handbag.
Yeah, that's where the good crumbs are.
I think he has set up like a little home in there. I like to think he's been in there so often. He just has like a little nest.
Like
He's taken-
occasionally in human form, like when Sylvie's not listening, he just drops little chunks of cheese like into her bag.
I feel like he's taken a little teeny tiny corner of that super fancy fabric she got from Monchelona and kind of like maybe chewed it off while he was in there and then made a little like rat hammock so that when he's in there he's got like a little like a ferret almost, like he can just like sit in his little hammock and stay curled up.
It sways to the walking of
Yep.
Sylvie.
And that one time when she started running, it was whoo.
Chimeran
Amazing.
kind of taking a little bit of a lead from Vera, how she's playing down her wardrobe or whatever. Chimeran's not going to disguise himself necessarily. He's still, Chimeran, but he is wearing a plain mask. So it's not one of the normal fancy ones. It would be just a plain mask at this point. And his gorgeous wavy red hair is pulled back into very loose ponytails if he was, some like a worker versus being more noble, which is what he normally would be like. So it's tied back. Yeah, he wouldn't be wearing the fancy clothes either. It'd be more worker duds. Yeah.
Perfect. Maybe even has like a leather apron or something like a mason or a stone carver.
I mean, let's not get crazy here. Working with his hands, like that kind of manual labor.
Fair enough. I mean, like a painter.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. A person of the arts. Okay. So what is the plan? Is everybody going in at the same time? Are you some people staying outside, some people going in? You going in but not all together?
Maybe
Carving
like
in
a
place to
divide
the
and
ground?
conquer, like not going in all at the same time, but like like one or two at a time, like a bit apart, and then we can kind of like disperse within the Castillo to try and find what the situation is.
Yeah, and
Well,
also
not drawing attention of having a whole group just kind of hello.
I think we would have asked Vera too if there was any place outside the building that would be a good place to like eavesdrop into the building. Like she would know the most secure parts of her building and the least secure parts, and we could at least like while we're waiting to go in or whatever, station at one of the places where you could kind of overhear a little bit of something, just in case something's going on inside. We could come in quicker.
Yeah. I don't know, Jeremy. What do you think? I kind of always envisioned it as being pretty secure from the outside.
I think in order for something like a brothel to be a successful business, I imagine security would probably be pretty tight.
Yeah. And she also would occasionally host some, black market type meetings and shit. So being able to hear from outside. She's, oh, you know what she could do? She is going to take out a piece of paper and she is going to draw the first floor of the Castillo. But what she's going to do is she's going to show you guys something that has never been shown to anyone aside from her and a couple of the staff members. She is going to show you guys where the secret tunnels are that run, so that if anyone wants to attempt to get into them, she's going to show where there are a couple of them and tell you the particular button on the wall or hidden thing you have to do to get it to kind of pop loose. And you can slide in and typically you can like see and hear into two rooms. Like there's not a lot of space, it's just enough for a person to kind of be in there and not be bumping into everything. But if that's okay with you, Jeremy, that's kind of how I had that built
Yeah,
in
like
there, was that those existed.
the between the walls kind of
Yeah.
hiding spaces. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Again, security from an outside viewpoint.
Oh, yes.
It would be important. But equally as important would be, I imagine, the selling and trading and blackmailing of information and
exactly
compromising, evidence.
So it is up to you as to what the things are attached to, which rooms they're attached to.
I would imagine that there are probably some rooms that have them and some that don't. But yeah, I mean, I have no problems with Vera having intimate knowledge of those things at all. It makes perfect sense.
Okay. Yeah, so she'll share that information with everybody.
Cool.
Suppose I'll go in first. Let's see. I don't think she looks over at Chimera and do you want to be my husband? And we're here for a threesome of some sort?
Chimeran would glance quickly at Sylvie before saying, yes, I could do that.
All right. Then I guess we'll go in first and the rest of you can follow later. Come along, darling. Let's go get it on. She just kind of jokingly loops her arm into Chimeran's and starts heading off towards the Castillo.
Yeah, as soon as the looping of the arms happens, performance Chimeran is on. And yeah, we're there. Play this up. You bet.
Okay. You walk in, and you are greeted with the familiar scents of incense and perfumes, as well as the smells of bodies intertwined in various forms of pleasure. You hear the noise of laughter and flirtation. Soft music is being played kind of somewhere in the main room. You hear the the tinkling of crystal and glass as drinks are being had. And you might be a little surprised, Vera, because you see many of the staff that you would have expected to see. But in addition to that, you see Gabriella and Sebastian working the floor. Gabriella turns to you and says, "Oh, please, come in. Have a place to sit, and we will be with you in just one moment."
Vera kind of leans into Chimeran. She's lovely.
I do agree. I also like, well, he looks good too. I think we could convince them.
Do we use our traditional pickup line? I saw you across the bar and liked your vibe. She giggles like this is meant to be like a lighthearted joke between the couple kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
They look.
that only worked on me with you.
It only did. They look a little bit more. What's the word? I don't try not to think of the word that's going to insult you. Actually, so not sure they would fall for that. They don't quite seem
as gullible as I was.
I was going to say as intelligent.
Well, you were just lucky you're good in bed because that made me marry you.
Likewise, dear. And I think that the entire time we're having this like little go back, it's also I'm scoping the room. I'm trying to see all the other people and places. So while we're looking like we're saying sweet nothings in each other's ears, it's just like of course a front to scope out the place.
Absolutely. Let's have both of you roll perception or investigation rolls. And while you're doing that, how are the other three of you entering La Castillo?
I think Sylvie would enter. I mean, Sylvie has Rat Guillaume in her bag, so I think she's entering and going in the opposite direction of where maybe she spots Vera and Chimeran.
You get the same greeting whenever you enter. Again, perhaps surprisingly, I think you've probably been introduced to Gabriella. You at least probably know her, know her face. But you see her and her twin brother here and working. She's the one that greets you as you come through the door and offers you to find a place to sit, and that she will be with you in just a moment.
Okay.
What about Locks?
Just seeing if I.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I just think if I have detect magic, but I do not. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she will just move in, opposite directions to cover more ground, and just keep an eye out. Whispering to her purse every so often.
Just kind of speaking down inside. Perfect.
So across the street from the Castillo, like in this sort of narrow, darkened alleyway, there's this kind of slouching figure leaned against the wall, occasionally taking a sip from a flask and kind of like sort of clearly inebriated. But as this person turns, you see that it's actually Locks in his little like I'm a street tough sort of get up, and he's just watching the Castillo from across the alley and keeping an eye on the street going in both directions. Primarily looking out for Justacaro Red, but like just mostly keeping an eye out for anything suspicious happening at the Castillo.
Okay. You will definitely spy the Telltale Red of the Justacaro uniform, but not necessarily coming to the Castillo. Just seemingly, on patrol, heading this way or that way to whatever business they may be getting up to. No close calls or anything like that. Inside the Castillo, the perceptive nature of both Vera and Chimeran notice that it seems like business as usual. But both of you notice that Gabriella and Sebastian are not acting correct. They're not acting right. I imagine this is probably all the more obvious to Vera because she knows them very well. But the twins have always had an affinity for one another that makes them a lot closer than most other siblings probably would be. They're very comfortable with one another, and the two of them, this version of them, if you will, almost interact like strangers to one another. They're playing at the part, but it's very obvious that it's not the same relationship. Chimeran, I would say that you notice, again, it is business as usual. However, you can tell that there are at least one or two people in this room that are not actually either customers or workers, that they are posing as if maybe security of some kind or spies of some kind.
I think I would, as I notice them, I would point them out to Vera, um, like whisper in her ear as we're uh, doing this whole charade of looking for the looking for company tonight or today. I guess it's morning, but one can't start too early.
Vera would kind of play into this and just mutter like almost like okay, agreeing to it. And then she would say, that something along the lines of they're not acting right. And she'd just kind of drop it and leave it at that, making sure that she's, especially with what Chimeran has just said to her, making sure that when she says it to him, it's with her mouth and stuff like nestled into his neck so that no one can read her lips anywhere.
I think so to play it up, and let you know that I've got the answer, that I understand is like, I simply must have her. indicating Gabriella.
She looks expensive, though.
Oh, but worth it, my dear. Don't you think?
I do. I really do. Um,
After a moment, one of the individuals working will come over, and will sit down. I imagine there's maybe like a love seat that the two of you kind of sat in. This individual is kind of androgynous, definitely playing at towing the line between being whichever or whatever you would like, and lowers themselves in between the two of you, kind of like putting their head onto Chimeran's shoulder and their hand on Vera's thigh. Is there anything that you would like to discuss? Maybe we could go to a private room?
Well, you are delightful. I think my dear and I have our eyes set on the blondes.
Oh, they say with like a very overpronounced, like pouty expression. Very well, suit yourself. Maybe next time. And they kind of like slink upwards, almost like with a snake like motion, back onto their feet, and then move on to another potential customer in the room.
But before they go too far, I want to make sure that I have all my pouches and things.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Roll me a perception.
That would be a dirty 20.
Okay. I think at some point, as they begin to kind of step up from the chaise, you reach down and feel them like starting to pull on one of the leather straps that kind of holds one of your purses, to your belt, and with just a smart little like smack on the wrist or the back of the hand, they kind of put up their hands as a sign of no contest. Sorry.
Hmm. I wasn't in such a good mood. I might have to punish you for that.
Do not threaten me with a good time.
Um, is this someone Vera recognizes, or is this someone completely new?
I think this is someone new.
Okay.
This is not somebody that you have ever met before. Do you indicate in any way that you are holding out for, waiting for Gabriella and or Sebastian?
Not right at the moment. Vera's gonna excuse herself to go to the ladies' room.
Mm-hmm.
And when she gets in there, she's gonna check to make sure that there's no one else in there, first of all.
Okay.
And then if this room happens to have spy holes in it of any kind, she's going to block them because she knows where they're
Okay.
at.
Sure.
And then she's going to cast locate person. And or locate creature. And she's gonna focus on Gabriella.
What is
so
the
that
range on this?
it is 1,000 feet.
Okay.
You sense the direction to the creature's location as long as that creature is within 1,000 feet of you. If the creature is moving, you know the direction of its movement.
Perfect. Okay. So you cast this spell, and kind of wait for the sensation that you're accustomed to with it, and it never comes. You never get any indication about Gabriella's whereabouts.
As she's leaving the bathroom, just to be sure, she still sees Gabriella in front of her, right?
Yes.
But there's no pole.
Correct.
Okay. She's going to go over to Chimeran, and she's going to kind of put her hand up on her mouth like she's just been sick. And she's just going, I don't feel so good. I think I drank too much before we came.
Yeah, and I think at that motion, just you putting your hand up, Chimeran would have already jumped up from his seat, a loving husband that he is, and rushed to your side.
I'm not feeling well.
So shall we take a rain check?
I think we might need to. I feel like I might be ill again. I was just sick in the bathroom.
Oh dear. And I think with that, he would start leading her out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the beautiful yet lithe creature has made their way over to where Sylvie is, and has draped themselves upon Sylvie, and says, hello, how are you? Is there anything that you would like to talk about, or maybe we can get a private room?
I think Sylvie smiles, matching, I think, the sly grin that this person has. Well, aren't you? And she looks a very pretty thing, she says, as she also traces her finger on along the shoulder. Has she noticed while she's been here anything out of the ordinary as of yet, as she's been looking?
So again, it seems as though business is running the same as you've ever really noticed it, in the Castillo, complete with, again, Gabriella and Sebastian being here. There may be a couple new faces that you have never seen before, but there's nothing that's jarringly out of place. Yes, I am quite beautiful, it is true. And there is a lot of work that it takes to look this way. I could show you more if you would like to see.
She smiles, eyes drawn back to this person. Could you roll an insight check? And she is going to say, but of course, I would love to hear all about how you pamper yourself. She got a 23 on her insight.
Okay. So this individual is very good at their craft, both with the flattery and the flirtation, but also with the nimbleness of their fingers before even being hired. And you very quickly realize that while they are placating you and kind of buttering you up for, business, that they are distracted. There's something else that they are also concentrating on. And you realize that it is your coin purse.
But she doesn't sense any kind of like recognition or intention other than to steal or
petty
to
thievery.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that definitely seems to be the only thing that they have going on. It doesn't seem to be any like secondary motivation or intention.
Okay. Knowing this, but also having a guard rat to keep her things safe. I think Sylvie. Yeah, I think Sylvie's going to turn and. I have been just wanting to relax, take the stress off, and I have had a very, very good week. And she's going to she's going to reach into her bag and you can hear the sound, because she's going to use one of her abilities that she has. She can make a sound with an inanimate magical tinkering. She can make a sound with an object, and she's going to just grab something and she's going to make it sound like it's like a lot of money in her bag.
Yeah, like a hefty, okay. This individual, you can tell, definitely perks up. Like their ears kind of twitch whenever you make this sound. And they kind of bite their lip and kind of look at you kind of mischievously. Well, if you have had a long day, then maybe a hot bath would be apropos.
She nods. Of course, absolutely. As a creature as beautiful as you. But first, I have to know. I've heard rumors of the madam returning.
Yes, the madam has come back recently, and in her infinite wisdom, she has hired me. This place was old and stuffy before, but we are changing that now.
Oh, I can imagine. So you are fresh, new.
As a daisy.
Did you know the madame before?
Oh no, I've heard things about her from the, here and there. The Castillo in El Hidalgo is well known.
She nods. No. I bet you she has the best room in this whole house.
Yes, it is certainly the largest, that is to be sure.
Take me there, she says.
They kind of pull back a little. The madame's room.
You have said you have livened up this place. Would not she be so thrilled if your first few nights had proved your worth? She says as she kind of pats her bag again for emphasis.
Their eyes kind of drift downwards to where the noise is happening. Again, they kind of bite their lip. But there is so much fun to be had in in the room with the bath. Are you sure you do not want a bath?
Maybe after. The night is still young. But first, why don't we just have a little bit of fun?
They kind of like look around conspiratorially. Well, she is not here, so... Okay. But it will cost you. I'm risking a lot, so maybe there should be some kind of compensation.
She nods. And to show, she is going to take out, I think, a few, maybe 2 or 3 gold, or whatever the equivalent. I forget what the currency is, but she's going to kind of take that out and place it like very gingerly in their hand and kind of encircle it.
They take it.
This is for the first few moments of entertaining me. Imagine how much more there is for the rest of the evening.
Oh, I can imagine. My imagination is almost as healthy as my appetite.
Sylvie smiles and lets them like lead her to the room.
Okay. Meanwhile, outside, Lox, you see Vera and Chimeran exit the Castillo, or at least their guises, and Vera seems to be sick to her stomach.
I want to ask a quick question.
Yeah.
Beyond just, well, I can wait till after you react. Never mind.
No, what you got? You've been quiet.
Well,
so
I'm just
far.
wondering
What you
because
got?
in the main room and as we move through the Castillo, beyond the sex funk, can I smell anything unusual?
The name of my band.
Like, does it smell like I'm wondering, like, in the heightened state, is there any like human versus doppel, like changeling kind of smell, or like undeath or anything like that?
Yeah, roll me a perception. And I think it's because it's based on scent, you have advantage as a rat.
Yes.
Okay.
Dang it! It hopped up onto my like keyboard cushion and it landed like directly on 20, but it was too hoppy. All right. Okay. That's perception. I have a 0 to that, so a 14.
Okay. So there are a lot of smells here. There are a lot of smells. Then there are a lot of smells that are intended to cover those smells. And then there are a lot of unexpected smells. But you definitely sense something that you had not sensed in the Castillo before. Have you been here as a rat before?
I don't think so, actually.
Okay. So not necessarily a new smell, as far as like placing it in this location, but there is definitely a layer, to a lot of the smells here, and you think you smell a stronger hint of Vera's smell.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you. That's what I was wondering about.
Okay. So now, outside of the Castillo in the street, where Chimeran and Vera have exited. How's that going?
I would assume that there's probably a designated like meetup spot a block or two away. So Vera and Chimeran, I would assume, would kind of slowly make their way, continuing on this I'm sick act. And then when they get about to like whatever the alleyway or whatever it is, she would probably kind of reinforce that sick thing with some, oh no, I'm going to go vomit down this alleyway, and like rush down that way, and the loving husband chasing after her to hold her hair, kind of waiting to see if Lox shows up.
Yeah, well, Lox would make note of the two of them leaving, but would see that Sylvie and Guillaume are still in there, and so Lox would kind of hang back, still keeping an eye on the Castillo.
Once we get down the alleyway, then Vera would kind of turn and
Yeah.
using
What is it?
her. It's I didn't want to be in there anymore. That was not Gabriella. I went into the bathroom. I did a locate spell. She's nowhere nearby. You know how I led us through the castle looking for Annabelle?
Mm-hmm. Nothing.
That was not her. It wasn't her mind controlled. It wasn't it. That was not her. They weren't acting right. The Gabriella and Sebastian, they have a bond. They you know, they just they don't act like that. Those two were flirting, but not right, not the way they should be. And when I did the spell to be sure, it wasn't her. I don't know where she is. I'm going to message Guillaume real quick.
Yeah, I'm worried about them in there alone now.
I will I'll message him real quick. She will cast a sending spell to Guillaume in Sylvie's purse. That is not Gabriella nor Sebastian. We left. We are close. Be careful. Her room. Closet. Secret panel. Perhaps something there. And that's all she'll say.
It's a fully mental response for sending, right? Because I'm still in rat form, so
I know you are.
I'm wondering if can I respond, or is it just gonna be like squeak, 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 just like 25 little squeaks?
Yeah, I think it's mental. So
Okay, then yeah, I will shoot back with uh I'm going to have try to let Sylvie know that we should leave as soon as possible. I think it's more of your kind. It it smells different in here, like more of you.
She's not going to spend another spell slot just in case they need them later. She's going to relay the information to Chimeran. And then when she does, as soon as that's done, she gets done telling him everything Guillaume said back. She is actually going to literally turn around and probably vomit in the alleyway. Like she's just sickened by this whole thing that's going on.
I actually think for this one moment, Chimeran is taken aback, a surprise, and he does not grab your hair in time.
She kind of just pulls out a handkerchief and cleans herself up afterwards. Sorry, that was rude of me.
What does that mean?
Oh,
Is this the You mentioned three things last night.
uh-huh, I did.
Is this the third?
Yeah.
How worried should we be?
The last time I was around my own kind, I was 6, maybe 7. I've been living in this city for almost 4 decades now. And the things that I have seen, the people I have fucked, the places I have gotten access to, all because I am what I am. If they were hired by the Padre, they're here for a purpose, and he has a plan, and they will carry it out.
How would you said we don't live here with us?
Not on this plane.
How would he contact them? How would
The same way anyone contacts people of another plane. You just know the magics. He's hundreds of years old, Cameron. The information he probably has on hand, the planes he's traveled to.
do you think the job that left you abandoned here was also maybe his?
Well, I didn't, but now I kind of wonder. She just kind of leans against the alleyway and I don't know. I can't even begin to contemplate something like that. But
Well, what kind of jobs were they hired for? Just curious, just wondering what we're should be looking out for. Sylvie and Guillaume are still in there.
I mean, I was, like I said, 6 or 7, so, but as far as I know, my parents weren't here to kill anyone. It was a spy infiltration of some sort. I'm not exactly sure. Gathering information, and they needed a child for cover, so I came along. It's like any group of people, any network of a business. There are spies, there are assassins, there are, you know, mercenaries, there are bounty hunters. It just depends.
And your parents' forte was more along the spy end of things.
That I remember, yes. It seems more like the Padres interested in running us to ground and ruining us. If he wanted us dead, we'd be dead. If he wanted to kill me with another changeling, he would have hired an assassin one, and they would have came into the chateau or into the Castillo looking for a good time, and I would have ended up with a sword in my throat.
We need to get Guillaume's father as soon as possible, so he can't
We
be used
do.
against us anymore.
We do. Did that they didn't they had their hand on my thigh and I have clothes on, so did you feel their skin at all when we were talking to? Did they feel cold at all to you?
Oh, Jeremy, do I remember what they feel like? Were they cold?
I don't believe so. No. I mean, again, skin to skin was brief. Touch of the face to the hand or something, brushing hands to one another, but
It
not
felt
cold
warm.
enough to note. Yeah.
Well, then there's a fairly good chance they weren't a vampire.
Most likely. They seem to be a petty thief, to be honest. But I was surprised to be here. Not very good, mind you.
That's how you can tell that it's not me running the place anymore. There was
Exactly.
no petty thievery.
Seems weird to steal the money from the person that you want to fuck, because then how would they pay you?
Exactly. Plus, I mean, it's just bad for business.
Exactly.
You just... Oh, every time I go to the Castillo, my pockets get emptied. Anyways, we should let the infamous storytelling voice in the sky take the scene back over to the others.
Meanwhile, back inside the Castillo, we hear a door open softly and then creak open to a room that we have seen before as an audience. A room with at least one younger version of Vera. It is a well-appointed room. It does not look like most of the other rooms that are used for business. This is definitely much more of an actual living space. And the individual kind of like pokes their head through the doorway and kind of looks into the room, one direction and then the other, before opening the door wider, and turning around and gesturing for you to follow, Sylvie. Please, right this way. They go over to like a changing, like folding screen that has like some kind of like feathered shawl looking thing like draped over it. They take it and like drape it around their shoulders and like across their neck, again very playfully spinning around, and like making eyes at you like over the top of these like feathers. Do you think maybe?
Sylvie, as soon as we got in, she is looking. I think actually Sylvie would go up to this person. Actually, she like adjusts this shawl in like in her seamstress way. She kind of I almost imagine she does like a couple of quick ties here and there, and she like drapes it around. I think that suits you very well.
They turn towards the what I imagine there is a full-length mirror somewhere nearby, and regards themselves. You are very good. Very good. Yes, magnifique. They kind of like take themselves from several angles. Maybe I will keep this.
You see Sylvie say, I know I am very good. In the same way that this person downstairs had said similarly. I think as they're admiring themselves in the mirror, Sylvie takes this opportunity to look around the room to see what is there and if there's anything of note.
Okay. Yeah, roll me a perception or investigation.
Okay. And do perception. 16.
Okay. So you kind of take a quick look around. And I don't know if you have been in this room before or not, as Vera's bedroom. But you recognize, I would imagine, a lot of the accessories and things like that you've seen Vera wear, various hats or shoes or dresses even maybe. So you recognize a lot of her things, and you don't see anything that jumps out as not belonging. But what you do notice is the lack of anything that doesn't seem out of place. There's no luggage. There's no additional personal effects that don't belong to Vera.
Yeah, I think that lack of anything is strange. You said that the madame is out of town? Or not
No.
away?
No, she is here in Aledalgo. She has just stepped away for a moment. I do not know why, but as long as she is not here, we can use this room, I suppose. They kind of move over to the bed and kind of lounge on it.
Does she do this often? These little trips? Do you see her much? This room is beautiful, but it is very different.
They kind of look around the room as if not really understanding exactly what you're talking about. They shrug. She has business that she goes about, usually during the day. But at night she is here, almost always.
Sylvie nods. You can see, she's a little disappointed. I don't think she would show this on her face, but she's a little disappointed that there's nothing here. I think at that, I think she'd stick her hand in her purse to kind of find Guillaume and give him a tap as kind of a signal that she's going to leave.
Yeah, I think he'll give you just a very frantic tapping back. That I'm guessing we might have communicated a little bit beforehand about signals, and he's definitely giving the yeah, we should get out of here sign.
Well, you have been. Oh, actually, before I say that, Jeremy, I just want to know, what is the typical cost for an evening here?
That's a great question. They don't have whoring listed in the player's handbook, strangely enough.
They should have.
Absolutely ridiculous.
That's
Not
insane.
in there, honestly.
It's a weird
need
oversight.
Errata right away.
Erotic
Erotic errata.
An erotic errata.
It's I can't unmute fast
TM.
enough.
I'm calling it now. I'm publishing that book. Trade goods. Huh, no, not there. I don't know, man. Services. What do we got? Skilled. 2 gold pieces a day.
Yeah, there we go.
So I imagine with the Castillo being, you know, the high-end establishment that it is, we'll probably say that that's 4 or 5.
I was gonna say you got to put my staff into like the highly skilled region.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So then I think that Sylvie is going to take she's gonna take 12 out of her.
Ooh, okay.
It has been lovely, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. But I am so sorry. Something has come up, and I must leave urgently. And she again like wraps the gold. You are very lovely, and perhaps one day, if you should stop by a boutique, a dressmaking shop, I will make something for you.
They go from seeming kind of like genuinely confused to just realizing that they just got handed 12 gold without really having to do anything.
Yeah.
And then whenever you offer to potentially make something in the future, they seem genuinely kind of, you know, pleased. Very well. It is not how I expected our time together to go, but maybe unexpected is good. No?
She nods. Unexpected can be very good, and I trust as well that gold will just come with a bit of secrecy. I was never here.
That makes 2 of us. They say as they like stand up and go to start taking the shawl off, and then shakes their head and like struts from the room.
Yep. And with that, now that she's out, Sylvie takes one last like good look, now very obvious, now not having to hide anything, and then we'll follow her out, or follow them out.
Okay. Let's see if there's anything. Okay. Yeah, you there's a few that kind of you know, eye the fact that you have both come back out of the room so soon, with maybe some mild curiosity, but that's really about it. And before long, you are back out into the streets of Aladalgo. I think this is where we're going to go ahead and take our break. So we're going to take a 10-minute break, go to the bathroom, refill your drink, smoke them if you got them, kiss your spouse, etc., etc. Sit tight. We will be right back with the second part of tonight's episode of Evermore le Masquerade.
Jailbreak.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back from the break. We are here once again with Evermore le Masquerade, our ongoing D&D campaign. This is session 36, the Château d'Ivory. Ivory? Who names this shit? We have just had an interesting exchange at the Castillo, where Vera was previously employed, currently employed. Now things are
The
kind of
owner.
up in the air. Maybe illegitimately. So yeah, things have definitely changed beneath the surface there, at the very least, and has raised a lot of questions. But for the time being, we are back out in the streets of Aladalgo, and I believe, if I am not mistaken, the plan is now to try to hunt down where Guillaume's father has been taken. So, how is that happening? What are you doing as a group, as you reunite with one another?
So Lox would sync up with everyone else at the agreed upon meeting spot and would, want the details of what they found in the Castillo. And he would say to Guillaume, where would they put your father?
I believe the saint said that it was some prison just outside the city. Is it? We heard that from him, right? I thought we did, but I could be misremembering.
I don't remember if it was disclosed if that was the case or not, but Guillaume, you would know that many spellcasters who run afoul of the ruling class are sent to a place in particular. And it is, of course, the namesake of tonight's episode, the Château d'Ivory. And there's a particular reason that this prison is used. It is remote. So where Aladalgo is situated on a lake that has basically two rivers that drain from it, it is situated at the mouth of the northernmost river that leaves this lake. And it's on an island all by itself. And it is known that magic does you no good there.
Yeah, I would pass that information along to everyone. But if I'm being honest, I don't know what we're going to do to get in there. I'm guessing we could probably steal a boat, get close, but it's a tough place. Be a tough place to get anyone out of.
Well, then I think we have to have the conversation, Guillaume. Do you think that springing your father is worth it for us?
Oh man, I don't listen. I care deeply for the man, but like I said before, I think he's tougher than he looks. He did, you know, do his time of service. He's been in harsh conditions before, I think, and he can probably take it. But the question, I guess, is how sure are we we're going to solve everything that's going on in El Hidalgo? Because perhaps once names are cleared and padres are dead and all the Justicaros lie dead in the street, it'll be a little easier to figure out how we get him out. But if we if we aren't 100% sure we're going to be able to solve the crisis here, I do feel obligated to get him out before we go into any suicide missions.
I mean,
I do
here's
have another. I do have another question, and I do not mean to make this insensitive, but the other consideration is he worth? What is he worth to us out? Do you think he could be any help?
Well, he has more knowledge of the internal politics of this city, I think, than any of us do. He might be able to connect us to other allies. And he is a smart and talented man in his own right. Perhaps now that he's been motivated by this unjust railroading he's uh, received, he might be more interested in joining our little crusade in some capacity. But I can't promise anything. Um, I I don't know. It was all your suggestion that we go get him in the first place. I said I think he'll be fine for a few weeks, but
then there's also this. If we go in there and we break him out, it pretty much is leaving a calling card that we're back in the city. Those
Not
children that we
necess-
rescued, they were just kids. Somebody felt bad, the kids were out. But your father,
well, maybe if we try to free everyone in the prison, it would obscure things a bit. That might
okay.
be a tall order, but I'm sure
no,
having a bunch of pissed off mages who don't like Justicaros anymore couldn't hurt our cause.
I was gonna say they're gonna know sooner or later that we're here, no matter how hard we try to keep to the shadows.
Mm-hmm.
So we may as well let them know we're here.
I do like the idea of having an army of pissed off mages at our back.
Now, to be fair, I should warn you, probably a significant percentage of those pissed off mages are utterly insane. They've stared into the arcane weave and it has scrambled their brains. So, little bit of this, little bit of that when it comes to the potential assistance we might receive from any of them.
But when we're fighting vampires, can we point them in a direction and say, fireball that?
Not impossible. But there's
Well,
also, well,
I say if we're going to roll in, let's roll in and free the whole damn prison.
I mean, we'll be there anyway. May as well.
We might not even have to do much if we just find where the power source is for all the wards that are keeping it anti-magic and destroy them.
I think that would be a good approach. I know I would be a lot more useful if we were to disable that protection. I mean, I won't be useless. I think the rat thing, um, If you remember, I don't know if the guards carry silvered weapons, but I should be pretty unstabbable, which could I don't think that that's the sort of thing a ward would negate. Although if it is, I'm really fucked.
Would the ward even can you be a rat? I don't know how it all works.
I as far as I know from my research, I believe that afflictions like my own are less of overt magical workings and more of a corruption of the body. So I think it should be all right. But again, I've read books. I've never tried to walk through a ward as a rat. Haven't run across any.
Well, I guess we could find out and you could write your own book about it.
All right, let's get a boat. Guillaume just immediately lit up like, holy shit, I've been a student for 10 years or something at this university or 8 years at the university because I'm like, I don't know what to write a thesis about. And it literally all just clicked like interactions of magic and like lycanthropy or ratcanthropy. Um, yeah, I think we should go to the like kind of the boat, the docks, the whatever we've got for docks that we can potentially borrow a craft from.
Is that the plan then, to just take one out for a spin?
What
I
I would
think
be
so.
well, I don't know if this would be information that I'd be able to access, but maybe learning a little bit more about the prison installation and like what it is powered by, well, like what the wards are that keep it anti-magic, like if we at least had an idea of that before we approached, I think might be to our benefit. So like I don't know if I'm able to get word to the saint and see if he knows anything about it, or if uh I don't know, if could we go to the public library and look up the floor plans for the building. I don't know.
I was
The
thinking the
tax assessor's
university
office.
library
Yeah,
might
I'm
have
like, there is
some,
the university, so
or something on like a book on wards would be good in general, so we can see if there's like kind of usual patterns and ways to deactivate them too.
So Guillaume is going to the university library.
Sure. How about I think we should either there or if is there I mean I think we should go there either way, but I'm wondering like modern day what I'm imagining is something like it's probably too crazy to try to go into like city hall or like a city planner's office. I just want to know if there's like some bureaucratic like installation that is maybe not the like where the Justicaros are, but
Hmm.
would be like a place with blueprints. Like, I would, is that like, would that be a thing? Like, is there some architectural digest of this historic city?
So there is probably something akin to that. I don't imagine that it's a very like necessarily organized and like strictly public facing accessible thing. That strikes me as a very modern type of thing that is probably a part of our society. Um, and I think even if that were the case, I would imagine like a maximum security prison would probably not be the kind of thing that you'd be able to find plans for as easily accessible by the public, at least.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Um,
That makes sense.
they tend to put
Here's
those things
here's where the
behind a
secret
few.
passages in the prison are.
So you can plan your breakout.
Then yeah, I guess the library, see if we can find out about wards. Any I would also be looking for any sort of uh, are there any like famous ex-prisoners of this place that like might have written about it? Or because especially because like if it's holding mages, they tend to be the ones writing the books.
So you would know, like, this place is infamous, and it's very much the kind of place where they put people and throw away the key. So there are not very many public purported people who escaped or people who served out their sentence. It's a life sentence when you're sent there, kind of thing.
Makes sense.
But as far as wards and things of that nature, if you are going to the library at the academy, I would like to know how that's happening, because you have to be a student at the academy in order to check out any of the books or access any of the books. And Guillaume is currently a wanted man.
Yes. So for that, I would use a disguise self. Like, once we get close enough, I would like to disguise myself as another student that I know there. But like, I'd like it to be like somebody that I'm aware of them from sharing classes with them, but I spent a lot of time in the library and like never saw them there. Somebody who's like, whoever is like the least likely person to actually go to the library. Like,
Okay.
I'm gonna be like a coasting student, who's just a little bit lazy.
So Guillaume, but less time in the library.
Yes. So I would only have my hour of disguise self, basically. I get what you mean. I get what you mean. Yes.
Sorry. It was a dig, but it was a little too...
I don't think Guillaume coasted. I think he gave it his all in every class. He just wanted to keep taking more classes.
Okay.
He had like perpetual, I'm never going to graduate. Like, oh yeah, well technically I have enough credits for 5 majors now, but I haven't decided on declaring one, basically.
Perfect. Okay. So yes, absolutely. With all of that being the plan, it's easy enough to do. They're not scrutinizing that close. So if you are passing, especially as a student that you know for sure goes to school there, they ask you your name whenever you come in. If you're asking for any books in particular, that kind of thing. But they're otherwise occupied. So you're able to, get the tomes that you're looking for and kind of peruse them. There are a number of wards and spells, runes, things of that nature that can suppress magic, outright cancel some spells, and you definitely find at least one mention of that kind of magic being installed at the prison, at the chateau. Maybe some mage who helped make this place. It definitely seems like it has a source of some kind. Where that might be, it's hard to tell. That part is definitely not listed in the book. But your guess would be that it's probably not going to be something that is readily accessible easily.
And would I have found anything pertaining to like shape-changing afflictions and the interaction of those in these wards?
I would say probably not alongside these wards necessarily. No specific mention, but you would either find also in other tomes or just knowing what you know that there are definitely spells and magics that can, again, suppress or outright cancel the ability of shape changers to take other forms. And it may or may not be a feature of this prison as well. Your guess would be that if it's that tight on security, that they probably have some kind of measure to guard against someone simply being able to turn into an animal and slip out.
Okay, one more stupid stretching. No, never mind. Actually, I think that's dumb. Never mind. Yeah. Okay.
The impression that Guillaume is getting is that this place will be a challenge. You know, probably for the entire group, but maybe especially for Guillaume.
And maybe for Vera. Have to go in your whatever blank form you have.
Um,
I'm so sorry. You're trying to say something.
no, I don't know if her form would be affected by that because it's not magic, it's a natural ability. I don't know how that works. Um, all right. You don't think you can get in as a rat?
Seems unlikely. There's I have one idea, but I really don't like it, and I don't think any of you will either. But
Well, luckily for you, none of us have any ideas, so you're up next.
well, there's the old classic. We're bringing in a fresh prisoner. I'm
Sounds so
clearly
familiar.
I'm clearly wanted. I am clearly a magic user. I think we might be able to at least get through the first gate inside before we had to really start either using subterfuge or outright violence to uh to get in if the four of you all disguised yourselves as Justicaros and were bringing me in.
But here's the problem with that. You're also our most I really have noticed that I had been really giving you a lot of compliments lately, Guillaume, and
Well, don't stop now.
you're also our most proficient magic user. So if anybody was going to break wards or do anything like that, it would be you. So taking you into the place where you can do no magic is probably not the best plan.
The bad news is all of the wards I was reading about, these to deactivate them, I would have to be inside. I think there's a good chance whatever the source of the anti-magic fields or wards or whatever they have there, there's a good chance that it's at the heart of the prison and it can only be deactivated generally from inside. I may be able to do it without magic. We any of us might because these. I mean, keep in mind that it you pretty much have to be able to if they ever wanted to be able to turn it off or on or uninstall it. It would have to be done without magic because once you're inside, there is none. But like I said, not a great idea, but it's an idea to potentially get us through the doors.
What if we wait outside the prison and we follow a guard home, grab them, I mimic them, learn their voice, put on their clothes, head to my work the next day with you in my pocket, get you inside the building, and then you go break all the wards down in the basement area.
It's a good start. The issue is I think there's a chance that as soon as you cross the threshold, your pocket's going to get very heavy. I would shift back to my human form. I'm sorry. I should have been more specific. I was speaking poetically, but I guess this is really a tactical planning session.
Yeah.
So I should be more literal.
It really is, because I thought you were threatening to poop in it or something.
No. And also, I don't think the weight would change because that would have already been inside me. But this is another discussion. I do like the idea. Perhaps if your shape changing is unaffected, that could be a good way to at least get you inside to open the doors for us a little more stealthily. Because, like I said, my idea really does involve getting inside and immediately starting to cause problems for the guards, which I think Lox and Chimeran would probably have a sufficiently easy enough time doing. They're good at hurting people without magic, but you and me and Sylvie, I think, might be in a little bit of a pickle until we're able to find and disable the wards.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have to follow a guard home. We just need to be in the tavern that's nearest the prison during shift change. We'll have our pick of the litter.
That's true.
And I know I'm not nearly as good at disguising as myself as the two of you. Looks like Vera and Guillaume. But I'm no slouch when it comes to disguise, and it doesn't use magic.
Oh, well then, Mr. No Magic.
I've been preparing my entire life for this moment.
Sylvie, what are your thoughts?
Fortunately, I use magic quite extensively, so I am very useless here. I think that that plan is as good as any. You go in as a guard, find a way for us to get in as well. There must be something. I'm trying to look at my bird. Is it? I think it would be magic. It's a homunculus-y thing. Yeah.
That strikes me as something that would be magical, but I'm sure the spell probably clarifies.
It's a construct, isn't it?
It's a construct, yeah.
It is, but it's using one of your...
But it uses
It uses one of your infusion ability things.
Yeah.
To fuel it.
Okay. Yeah, like, I would imagine, I don't know if the homunculus falls into this category or not, but I would imagine anything that is, like, summoned into being, even if it is permanent until blank, I would imagine that if the magic were broken, that it would probably cease to be.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you know, I know for the artificer, like, you can make certain items, like, into being, but then if you use that ability again, the first item, like, goes away.
Yeah.
I would imagine that in those kinds of certain instances that it would probably be the same.
Yeah.
The magic would be undone. So I don't know if that's the same for the homunculus or not. It is no longer a spell. Okay, that's why I'm not finding it.
Yeah, I guess because I'm not really making it. It is kind of a spelly, infusiony thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I imagine that Sylvie would probably understand that would, if that is the case, if it is actually like an anti-magic zone, that your homunculus would probably be undone.
Yeah. Okay.
What are our other options then if we don't break Yom's father out? We go back to the Castillo and deal with the changelings there. We meet up with Ella and find out if she's compromised in some way. We walk up to the Padre's door and knock on it and say, "Could we please have the phylactery of our friend back? Thank you." I'm at a loss for decisions here.
I've
We
gotten
have
pretty
to
into the idea of the Mad Mage army, but
I mean, I have two. It is definitely a plus. We also have Gabrielle and Sebastian who are in prison somewhere near gondolas, which there aren't a lot running in the city now, so we could probably figure out a little bit about where they are. Maybe.
I do think we have a solid plan to get into the prison.
Okay.
Plus, Gilmstead might have some additional insight. He was captured and brought in. He might know something.
So I don't want to like retroactively do anything, but I was gonna say, Jeremy, while Guillaume was going to the library to research the ward stuff, I was gonna say Locks would probably try to figure out where like guards hung out, or if there were any guards that like used to work there but don't anymore that he could like track down. So not even that I would like find the guard, but just like I would kind of know like where they would hang out around the prison after their shift or whatever, or if they do like a 2 week rotation, like where they end up.
Okay, give me an investigation roll. Okay, so I would be applying disadvantage because this is the kind of information that is not typically like spread around a lot. But we've already established that you have a network of eyes and ears in the street. So I think that would also apply advantage. So I think it's just a single roll.
Yeah, that's a 4. So I think
Okay.
I'm not able to dredge anything up.
Yeah, I think what you learn is that there's not a lot of information to be found. It seems like they stay on the island for a considerable period of time, that they live there. Again, like we're talking probably 5 to 10 miles from Aladalgo. So I mean, it's a healthy journey, by rowboat, kind of thing. I guess it would have sailboats that would go. But it's not an easy like afternoon trek kind of thing. So it seems like a lot of people don't really know much about, even those who are kind of plugged into the underworld. They don't really seem to know a lot about the guards that work there. That there, reportedly are people who have served as guards there that are no longer working there, but nobody seems to know a name.
So I would just like supply what information I had to the group and sort of stress that like it's pretty buttoned up and that we're not really gonna find anything else out by hanging around the city. And so Lox would say, I think at this point we just gotta get over there, start casing the place, and see what we can figure out from there.
Okay. So, a boat. Sounds like the plan was to try to hire someone or possibly steal.
I think, as conspicuous as it might be, I think stealing might be a better idea, just so we're not dragging some boatman into this.
Yeah, I'd rather know other people. How much would a boat cost if we just bought a
Like to
small
buy
boat?
one?
Yeah, I mean, just jump to crime is the first option.
Finance, you can rent to own. Here we got options. Guillaume's got good credit.
0%
Couple of-
financing. I saw the ads.
Couple of sea-doos.
Boats, boats. Gondolas.
That should probably be right next to the cost for whoring.
Mhm.
Bet.
In the boats and hose section.
Boats and hose. Pretty sure there's a magazine that's called that. Okay.
Regrettably, it's about gardening and boats, so it's not.
Yep, wrong kind
Also,
of hoe.
oddly, a really niche hobby. Strange. Okay, a sailboat. Whoa, no, that's a sailing ship. We don't need that kind of shit. I guess it would probably be a keelboat. Would probably be the closest thing. It's $3,000.
Okay, a little on the side.
A rowboat is 50 gold pieces.
Well, see, we can get a rowboat.
Might be a little crowded, but
Yeah, talk
It's
to
just
me about
five-
the rowboat. Talk to me about
5-10
the
miles.
rowboat.
I mean,
No
we
problem.
really only have four
I-
people because we have a rat.
We also did
True.
recently get like 12 1,000 gold gems.
you do have the money.
And like, if bartering is an option, we could. But it also might be less conspicuous to be in a rowboat. I don't know what would look like. Somebody might fish in a keelboat though, right? Like we could like
What if we
maybe look like we're
paid-
fishermen.
What if we paid a guard to just take down the defenses at the place? I mean, 1,000 gold is a lot of money.
The problem is finding a guard that knows how to do that.
I don't want to
And-
give the
Or-
cops our money. I want to keep the money. They don't deserve it.
I also think this sort of prison, they might be employing people who are there for reasons beyond just financial incentives, and it might be giving away the game if we try and fail, or even if they agree to it, that might just be them not tipping us off that they're going to tip off the prison.
It's true.
I'm all for bribery where appropriate. I'm just worried that it might not be the best option in this situation.
Here's a weird thing. And but we'll just chalk it up to the additional list of things that are weird. And this is getting to be way too much of a habit since I've been associating with you folks.
I can't tell if that's in character or
No, totally in character. Kenya would never say something like that. Totally in character. Vera just kind of like, people have to shit. There are
I'm honestly
supers.
not sure I'm following you with this one. How does that help us?
People, even the prisoners, there's got to be somewhere for it to go. If we're trying to get into the prison.
My assumption is buckets and the lake, but I don't think this prison is a place where people are meant to be at all comfortable. They might even just be living in their own shit. No one comes out, so no one, no one reports. I think their goal is sort of empty these cells without releasing anyone, if you get what I'm saying.
Do they think you even feed these people? Like, how long does your dad actually have here?
Yeah, maybe we should get him out sooner rather than later, is what I'm starting to realize the more I think about this prison.
Okay, so I guess let's buy a boat, row ourselves across the lake towards the prison, which is not going to be obvious in no way, shape, or form is it going to be suspicious.
Is the prison on an island?
It is indeed on an island.
It's on the island in the mouth of like one of the rivers that goes
It's
into our bigger lake.
Almost like
do we-
somebody thought about how to plan a maximum security prison in a magical setting.
Do we know how far the anti-magic wards spread out?
No, that is a variable at the moment.
I think that's why casing seems like a good idea. Guillaume will argue strenuously for getting the keel boat and buying some fishing gear to try to make themselves look as inconspicuous as possible.
And find out how close we can get before
Find out how close we can get before alerts are raised or before the magic wards kick in, if one comes before the other. How far we would have to swim if that ended up being our plan. I don't think we have any sort of water breathing. Oh no, I have one water breathing.
It's not going to work though.
It won't work after we hit the ward, but we could potentially get close with the water breathing. If we could get more of them, that would be good, because right now one is not really enough to get us all there.
I think Lox is like secretly pretty pumped about the prospect of buying a boat. I think that he's secretly kind of always liked the idea of maybe owning a boat someday and like having a little fishing boat out on the lake. And so he's like kind of low key, very, very pushy for this plan to buy the keel boat. He really likes that idea.
I'm liking the idea too, pretending to be fishermen. I think it's
Okay. So, are we buying ourselves a boat? All right.
Yeah, I think if we can find whatever looks like the most common, like kind of the classic like drive a Civic sort of thing, if we can find whatever model of boat looks like the most fishermen are using and try to buy one of those.
We want a sensible used boat.
Particularly if like I would even say if we can like find like a fisherman and offer them more money than we should so that we can get their boat in its currently used looking like worn capacity with its equipment.
I was gonna say must have the equipment.
Yes, like we want to buy your whole enterprise if we can.
Yeah, if you find yourself a fisherman that's, in a slightly less than pristine boat and you offer them 3,000 gold pieces for the whole kit and caboodle, you will definitely find somebody who is willing to sell it. Are we christening this thing? Somebody naming this?
Oh
We should
man.
name it.
Okay.
Sex funk.
Sex funk.
No.
Well, how do you
Perfect.
say what's sex funk in like Italian or French?
Le
frantic
funk de
Googling.
sex.
Ooh.
I think it's
Ooh, that
sesso.
funk.
SESSO. I think it's sex. I don't know why I would know that. Don't ask questions.
L'essence
Okay.
de
Funk,
sex.
funk sexual.
Sexual. There you go.
Guillaume
I
manages
guess
to
there's no
talk
word for
the
funk.
Guillaume manages to talk the fisherman into like throwing his hat in too, so Guillaume gets this like fisherman's hat he can wear. Throw in the hat.
He puts on like just a big fake beard as well.
Sex stink. Wow. Usa de Cezo. All right. We'll come up with a great name, I'm sure. Unless y'all are serious.
Never can tell.
With this group, it could go either way. There's no telling. Okay.
Not an NPC would like to recommend the SS Good Idea.
Yep. The HMS Great Plan.
Oh boy.
Okay. So you have purchased yourself a boat, a fishing boat in particular, and you are headed out towards the chateau. So I think on the precipice of our reverse heist here, we might go ahead and call the session here before we get too deep into it. Yeah? Okay. So it'll give you some time to think, possibly make additional plans if you want. And then the next time, fish house. And then the next time we get together, we may see a chateau from the inside. This was a blast, y'all. Not at all what I had planned for this evening, for this session. But good stuff anyways, all around. Again, I love being able to set up an interesting problem or premise for all of you and just seeing the wacky shit that you come up with and how to deal with it. It brings me no small amount of joy as a DM, so thank you. I'm going to pass things back over to my players so that they can give any kind of parting words, parting shots, whatever, that they would like to, and then we're going to put a bow on it and call it a night. So we'll start in reverse order with Kenya.
Well, this was a blast as always. I absolutely missed last session, and I'm glad to be back this month. This is quite the interesting problem. I've never been in a game where the DM has literally removed every contact and capability that we have. So trying to work our way around this and figure it out it's going to be fun. I'm enjoying it, and I am excited for us to I mean, honestly, we didn't buy a boat tonight. We invested in Lox's retirement. That is what we did, guys. We invested in Lox's retirement today. So with that, I'm going to pass it down to the man himself, Matt.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped about the boat purchase. I'm not gonna lie. Was not anticipating purchasing a boat with this fine group, but yeah, we're equal co-owners of a fine, gently used keel boat. So how incredible. What a joy. Thank you, as always, Jeremy, for running just incredible game. And yeah, was great to have the whole squad here tonight. It was a really fun session. So Jeremy, I'm sorry that you prepped all of that. We're gonna do it next time.
Man,
I promise.
no.
We're gonna do it
Don't
next
worry.
time. We were just like, what if we bought a boat instead? All right. I'm gonna pass it over to Em.
Yeah, this is a great session, and I love that a lot of it was spent on making a decision, because there is so many decisions to make. It is truly felt like a sandbox game, which has been very cool to feel like we truly have infinite possibilities, and the indecision that comes with it. So yeah, can't wait for the next one. I will pass it to Austin.
Yeah, echoing what everybody said, this was a blast. I can't wait to see how immediately fucked every idea that we've had is going to be once we get there, and how there's going to be like my mind keeps flashing back to us discussing exactly where to place the dawn spell for like half an hour, only to then find out like, and it doesn't work in this one room. Uh, and it feels like we are setting ourselves up for another one of those, which I'm super excited for because everything after that was probably the most tension I've ever felt in a game. Um, so I'm excited to see where this goes now that we're like, not only have all of our allies been stripped away from us and like any means of receiving assistance, but also we're going to a place where three of us can't do anything useful. And we're gonna have to figure out like how to get through it. I think that's gonna be super fun and super stressful, but in that fun way that like playing a good game is. So thank you, Jeremy. You're and sorry we threw everything off tonight. No, I know. But yeah, it's I'm glad that we will be getting to it. We're gonna see all that beautiful prep work you did to fuck us. Um, so without further ado, then I will pass it up to Karen.
I have nothing more to add. I am so happy. This was a lot of fun. This this game is so much fun. These people are so much fun to play with. I love you all. Yeah, the session tonight was was a blast. It had its highs, it had its lows, it had all sorts of things that we talked about, and we have a boat, guys. That's it to you, Jeremy.
Thank y'all very much. I am very happy to know that you're not the least bit bitter about having all of your resources and your allies frozen. That makes me happy. No, genuinely. Yeah, like I said in the chat, like I've never done a like supremely hyper intelligent foe before as like a main antagonist, and it made a lot of sense to me to have him preemptively strike, and to have done so in a way that isn't a minor inconvenience, that is genuinely troublesome. And I understand as well going into a place where the majority of the party is going to feel strained, is going to be a challenge, but hopefully that's the exact idea. That's the plan. So I'm really eager to watch as you overcome the challenges, because that's always the fun part for me as a dungeon master. It's not about screwing you over or trapping you somehow or a gotcha. It's putting something that I know you'll find your way through, and I just don't necessarily know how you'll find your way through it, and being surprised as you all come up with it, because you do. You guys surprise me every session with the stuff that you throw at me. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that's going to be like, in particular in this instance. So I have some fun stuff that I planned. I think at least it's fun in here. So I'm very eager to be able to show that to you and reveal that, more than likely next time. But yeah, I have absolutely no problem at all with shelving what I spent time prepping in favor of the spectacular role playing that all of you do, and the character development and the story development that you're all doing almost on your own. There are large swaths of time where I don't need to say anything. It's unnecessary for me to say anything. It would be a detriment to do so. And I'm here for it. I love it. And having to invent random NPCs on the fly is always also a lot of fun. I enjoy that. So, yeah. Thank you for all being incredible players, in addition to being incredible human beings. I'm very happy that I get to spend a few hours with you, hanging out and goofing off. It's a good way to end the day. Okay. Speaking of wonderful human beings, for any of you out there who happen to stop by and watch the game, whether you did so tonight while we were playing or whether you're watching at some point down the road in the future, thank you. Thank you very much for swinging by the channel and spending a little bit of time here. It really does make me very, very happy that there are people that find entertainment in us telling terrible sex jokes and rolling dice. So, yeah. Do all the stuff that YouTube likes to see. If you did enjoy the content that you saw, do hit the like button, share the link around, do the little bell thing, subscribe to the channel if you want. There's a lot more content here on the channel. So yeah, and yeah, talk about it with your friends. Come by next time. See the next session we play. But it really is appreciated. So thank you. Remember, kindness is a free action. It costs you absolutely nothing to be kind to other people, and we really, really do need a lot more kindness in the world, particularly now. So, you never know what battle somebody is fighting, and if being kind to them could make all the difference in the world, then again, that's you're generating currency at that point. Why not? That's how we change the world. One person at a time. Be nice. Unless you're a Nazi, and then go fuck yourself. You deserve to end up on the bottom of the lake beneath El Hidalgo, amongst Vera's collection.
Well, apparently my collection's not there right now.
Allegedly. Yeah. All right. I think that's all we've got. So we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Until next time, may your dice roll high, and your snacks always be within reach.